I wonder if I can show you a picture of Martin Buber. Martin Buber was a 20th century theologian. He was Jewish. He grew up in Germany, and he wrote a very interesting book. In German, it's called Ich und Du. It means I and thou, or I and you. Buber was very concerned about how we acted as individuals and how we acted as a society. In fact, he thought that the only way to experience God was through seeing God in another person. And that was what the I and the thou was. Now, he was concerned because he saw a lot of people treat others as it. So if you wanted somebody to kind of move over, you just kind of would just push them over. Now, she's been pushing me back for a long time. One must, yeah. So if we treat people as it, then we can never treat them as thou. And really, we won't ever be able to know who they are if we don't see them. And because the world is in a difficult place, if we don't do this ourselves, how can we ask anyone else to? Now, I wanted to make a case that Martin Buber couldn't because he didn't have some of the technology that we have now. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to take you through a little bit of a journey about our sameness, and also about the rhythms of our life, the seasons that are also in us the same. And Jenny's also going to play while we do this too. You know, the pattern of nature is not just out there. It's actually inside us. A white blood cell and a pollen cell with the same color and structure. Human brain folds on the left and coral on the right. That's the human spine in a cross section. And next to it, of course, a butterfly. And that pattern of the butterfly, we forget, is literally stamped within us. A plant stem and our salivary gland. Some of these are even the same color. The earthworm and the human trachea, that's one of my favorites. Mushroom gills, and those are our human eye cilia. The human cerebellum, and that's saltwater coral. Carol, could you turn the lights off? Maybe, or someone? I think the pictures would be better. Thank you. Tadpoles and human sperm. Green algae and the tissues of our nervous system. The inner ear, right in our head, so close, the cochlea, and of course the snail. Human lymph nodes and mold, simple farm mold. Caterpillar spines and the cells in our tongue. You see the pattern? All of us. We are the same, patterned from the same patterns that nature had done 1 billion times. A fish flipper and your fingers. Fibers of our bladder and the moth antennae. Human foot tendons and cypress roots. I love this one. That's ash, the wood, in section, and thus human muscle in section, the same magnification. The same magnification. Human skin and tree bark. Our hand, and of course, a tree showing the branch structure that is part of and essential for us in order to take one breath. But there's more. Because there are seasons in our soul too. Like now, when the leaves are turning, sometimes the fall in our lives, the autumn in our lives is beautiful, just beautiful. And there's a harvest that we take in our lives. But then there are also times in the fall when the leaves are gone and the wind is bitter. And we know those too. And when winter turns to us after that fall, sometimes it's not beautiful at all. And I bet we've all done that. Sometimes seeing if we can just survive the wind. But even in the middle of winter, there are times when we can see something like this. All of us can see something like this. And we can do something like that. But there's more. Because the spring comes, and so do the flowers. Cherry blossoms are one of my favorites. I bet maybe yours too. And sometimes the garden work goes on and we plant. There's graduations. Look in their eyes. How can you not smile at what they hope to find, just like we hope to find? And then summer comes, and sometimes it brings us to a new road, a new place. And sometimes it's just for fun, summer in our lives. Sometimes it's barren and hot. And sometimes we stop and we smell the flowers. Sometimes. But that's not all. Because at night, there are rhythms in our lives too. At night, the moon comes and pulls on us in ways that sometimes we don't even know, even though we can see it pulling on the sea and moving the tide back and forth. Sometimes there's a muse to us that's asleep, and our creativity is empty. There is nothing going on. And other times, the muse says, come, come. And we have to take a step sometimes in places, and to places we've never gone to before. You know. But there's more. Because we know the shoot, and we know the leaf that falls, and there's a time in between. And it's like that for us too. The time when we were on one side of this, and hopefully a time when we will be on the other. You know. You know. You know. But there's more. Because that same snail shell, the ammonite, is the same as the galaxy. Same shape. Sometimes the galaxies put them together in ways that we're just discovering why. Your and my inner ear looks like that. Oops. And our eye looks like that too. There's a little more. You know, that's a picture depicting how our brain works, the nerves going around all of the areas of our brain and coming together in little white nodes where they imagine memories and actions and decisions reside, judgments. Once when I was traveling for the Ministers Association, I looked out of the window of an airplane and I saw that the surface of the earth looked surprisingly like the neurons in our brain, with little white lines going between the bigger white areas. And I imagined that the way that our brain was on inside was being reflected in the way that the surface of the planet was lit. This is so deep. The patterns of our similarity are so deep. We sometimes forget that we are the same. One more. A black hole. Brown eyes. Blue eyes. A planet in blue. Just last week, I discovered that Martin Buber and his writing was picked up by a man in jail, in a Birmingham jail by the name of Martin Luther King. And King took Martin Buber's material and fashioned it into what he conceived of as the beloved community. And I think that if we have an aspirational goal as a community, it's to build the beloved community. Thank you so much for listening.
And now, excuse me, for our closing song. Turn, turn, turn.